see, here we go. Yo, what's up everybody? My name is Devon, aka A Devon. I'm gonna make a very loose, unorganized video just showing you the basics of X8 as of their major update 2, including the new character Xero. I'm gonna show you a couple things in the settings and a couple things about your characters, just basic stuff so you can have a better idea of what this kind of game is before you start playing. That being said, you launch the game, you see this, you see all this. First thing you should do, click training, click the tutorial, play the tutorial. It's going to give you the basics of all the mechanics in the game, opposed as not really including like buying, but we'll hop in a match to see about economy and things like that. So you do your tutorial, then you go to your options, check out some stuff here. In your options, there are 2 pages that'll show you for different settings for everything. Look around, see what you can find. There's a lot of interesting things here as far as where you can put things on your person that'll matter later on as you get more comfortable with the game. Let's see. Nothing here. You can turn your turn from snap turn to smooth turn. Audio, this one's kind of important if you're playing and you're playing on Steam VR. If you want to mute the game chat, it's going to be on the second page. You can turn off the game chat and people cannot hear you and you cannot hear them. Everything else, oh, my controller's gonna die. That's cool. We're gonna try to go through this as fast as we can because my headset's gonna die. All right, let's hop into the practice mode training. Give you a basic rundown of everyone's abilities.
Hey,
first character
just because
here,
it's a job
Izara.
doesn't mean it can't be fun.
She's got a shield as her hero item, a smoke, a Molotov, and a big wall. So we'll go through, talk about this for a second. With my setup and my settings, I've got my hero item on my left hip, my ammo on my top left shoulder, and I have a slot to stow an item away on my right shoulder. And yeah, that's it. So with her shield, it is something that is going to cover most of your body if it's in front of you. If you crouch by tapping down on your right stick, you will go down and be in a crouch position, and this will cover pretty much all of your body. So if you want to play her, it's definitely nice to play and swing around corners real quick and crouch, so you can absolutely guarantee that the only thing that other person can shoot is your shield. To actually shoot with her shield, you will need to poke out your gun through the shield. So if it's behind, it's not going to shoot anything. If you go just a little bit more forward, then you will be able to shoot through it. Which might leave your arms a little vulnerable, so you could still have situations where if you're doing all this and you're really extending out, your arm's going to get shot and you will take damage. If you press left trigger with her shield being held, it'll activate her reflector for a second or so, which you can see is in the description. This is another tip. When you press Y, you can open up your menu. Wherever you're playing, you can read all their abilities and any details that might be included by the game themselves. With her wall, her ultimate ability, you can rotate it by rotating your wrists. And you can also stand on this. So there's some cool things you can do with that. Alright, we're going to go forward to the next character. Hopefully my headset doesn't die. Maybe I should plug it in. Jaguar. Jaguar has a railgun that functions as just like a big rocket launcher. He has a Molotov as well, a turret, and an EMP grenade. The only tip I want to really give with Jaguar is that you can notice that there is an arc where you can put your turret, which means if you aim it up, you can put it on top of different surfaces. Very useful if you want to get a cheeky spot. Also, rotating your wrist will rotate the placement of the bot. Make sure your bot's looking forward. So if I want to put the bot in this corner, I just rotate my wrist because right now it's facing the wall. Now it's facing outward. So it'll be up there and it'll be looking at anybody and shoot them from pretty much any distance. Railgun, you have to pull back to charge it up. If you hold it for too long, you hear it starts to beep and it will overheat, meaning you cannot use it for a couple seconds. One way to circumvent this is to charge up your railgun till it's pretty much ready, and then let go of it a couple times. It'll keep that progress. It'll make a lot of noise, but you can run as long as you want and keep this ready for the next unsuspecting victim who definitely hears you charging this. But what are they going to do when you come around the corner and do that? that to them. Alright, moving quickly. We're running out of charge here.
It's so cute.
Oh, also to note about his EMP, it does what it's supposed to do. So when you shoot this at an enemy, anybody who comes within this large range of the EMP will have their abilities not be able to be used, but it also breaks utility. So pylons, turrets, it'll do damage to them pretty quickly. It doesn't immediately break them, but it'll do some damage to them and get them out of the way.
Do keep up, or this won't be much
Nyx.
fun.
Nyx has a remote mine. She has some tripwires, cyber wires they call them, a echo cloak, and her ult is an omni beam. It's like a sky kind of beam that comes down. One thing I do want to show just for a second
Not exactly by
is
the
that
books,
most smokes
but,
in this
you know.
game will be full smokes, meaning that you'll see a big spear, and if you walk in it, you won't be able to see much. This is very strong to use on doorways and stuff, but I don't really want to talk about too much about strategy in this game. But let's say the enemies are coming from this direction. If you put a smoke in this entryway, from their perspective, they had to walk through this, and they're going to be kind of lost trying to figure out where to go. And by the time they get out, you'll probably see them before they see you. Nyx, in particular, is the only character who has a hollow smoke. So Nyx's Echo Cloud, or whatever it's called, will give you the same spear, but inside you can see. So this can be used in many strategic ways. I'm sure players will find out specific spots where they can put this and hide inside of it. Also, it suppresses sound when you're inside the spear. Her Omni Beam, I'm already playing her. Her Omni Beam ult will do damage to anybody who is standing in the same spot from when you activate it. So if I activate this, you'll see from the heavens, sky beams will come down and deal damage to players and kill them eventually. A big tip for some players, and in some situations you may want to use her ult to get information. If I'm standing here and I don't know where anybody's at, if I activate this, I could look to the skies and see where people are standing. Her remote mine you can shoot out and it'll blow up after you click it, but if you click and hold it, it'll bring back your mine, and after a couple seconds you can shoot it again. Last thing with her tripwires is that when you place on her tripwire, it'll cause an enemy to be revealed to you when they walk past it. But also, this little thing here will blow up and will do damage to people if they walk through it and then they stay in this area. So that will do damage. Sarai. Sarai's the only healer character in the game. Her hero item is a healing gun that can only be used to heal your teammates after they've lost health. Not shield, but health. So, this will be useful to get people topped off after they take a little bit of damage. Much like Jaguar, her pylons can be aimed up and put into weird, wonky spots. I'm pretty sure I could fit this up here. Maybe if I climb a little bit. So you can put a pylon up here, and even though the circle only goes horizontal, the area of effect does go vertically. So there's some spots where you could put it up top a box or something, and if somebody walks into this area, they will get damaged by it. Some cheeky spots you'll find on specific maps. Her second ability is a smoke wall that is not made of smoke, it's made of electricity, meaning that you will get damaged by it, the enemies will get damaged by it, and your teammates will get damaged by it. So keep that in mind. Her ultimate ability gives you a station that will give you defensive bonuses of just health when you're standing in it, but you can grab it and hold it with one hand and hold the gun in another hand. So if you want to rush in with your team and give them a little extra health, that's a good way to rush with her. Give her more offensive capabilities. Let's see. My headset is going to die. This is going to suck. Am I? Oh,
no one's faster. No one's
Shinya, my main, my boy Shinya. Shinya has a sword that will one-shot any opponent if they're in range. And it also has a gun shield. So this is an invulnerable shield that just will last on a time duration. It is definitely smaller than the other character's shield, but you can still use it the same way to protect yourself and shoot. And this is the same concept. If you are behind it, it will not block, it will block those shots, so make sure your gun is sticking through it. And this is one way to play Shinya that'll keep you alive in more gunfights if you hold both a gun and your shield at the same time. Obviously, you can go to the training range and figure out which of these guns is better to hold with one hand. Off the top of my head, I can tell you that Warden, the XMG, and in some situations the Falcon at longer ranges are going to be a little bit more difficult to shoot down while you're holding with one hand. As you can see, the recoil goes up quite a bit. If I hold it, it's not as much, and it's also easier to control. With Shinya, he has a dash ability, dashes you forward in the direction you're moving with your left stick, and a blind. Now this is currently probably a bug in the specifically practiced range. His blind moves a lot slower than what it's supposed to actually do. You see how it moves very slowly. In game, it'll shoot a lot faster. So if you're trying to work on how to use his blind, don't go into practice range. Just head into a match, or hopefully we'll have bot matches soon. But his blind works how it does in any other game. It works by line of sight of the explosion. You can see there is a larger explosion that happens, a larger sphere that is bigger than the actual orb itself. If you are looking at that, when the blind goes off, you will be blind. What this means is that as Shinya, if you want to get more effectiveness out of your blind, you can reach your arm out, shoot it around a corner, and if you get blind, then now you know next time you do it, you should also turn away so you get less blind, but your opponents are blind for longer. So this is a very common strat. One thing I want to show people as well is that you can store your abilities. So normally you put an ability out, if you press grip, it'll put that ability away. If you press trigger, obviously it'll use the ability. But you can put an ability on your wrist if you tap down on your left stick, and this will store it and bring it back when you want to do it. Meaning you can store one ability and hold another in your hand. So what you can do is I can shoot out this blind and then quickly bring out my dash and use the dash after. So as a Shinya player, what I commonly do is I'll shoot out a blind, turn away, and then when I hear it go off, I bring out my dash and go in real quickly. This can give you some interesting plays where the enemy is around a corner, you see them, you blind. Oh, I fucked up the blind. You see them, yep, there's a guy there, blind, turn away, dash in, and now you have the jump on them. His ultimate ability, from the actual description, you can see it'll give you more duration on his sprinting ability as you get kills. Also, your footsteps are a lot quieter. They might be completely silent, I don't really know exactly, but it's definitely quieter. Alright, so that's it for my boy Shinya. Vesper, my second main. Vesper is all about using smoke to their advantage, smoking everything up. So with his signature ability as a hero item, you get a book, and it'll show you where you can shoot this eye. This eye will go anywhere you want, and it'll reveal enemies within a certain range through the walls, so you'll be able to see them. And also, if they are revealed by this eye, they will get a tunnel vision effect, which isn't like super strong, but it's something at least. As you can see there, the eye could definitely see all the opponents down all the way over there, but it only revealed these two in the front, so there is a limited range, so keep that in mind. Vesper also has these full smokes, not hollow smokes, but full smokes. And I believe, let's see, the smoke wall will also give a hex on enemies if they walk through it. So they will be cursed with the hex, which I think is the tunnel vision. I don't exactly remember. Maybe someone who's better at Vesper can tell me. But Vesper also has this ultimate ability that'll shoot a beam of dark energy, or whatever they describe it as. It's an infernal entity. Okay, it's an infernal entity. It also causes that hex, which I believe is just the tunnel vision. But with this, it goes through walls. So what you can do as a Vesper player is maybe, let's say, the bomb is planted right here and the enemies need to defuse it. So from around the corner, I can reveal them. And if I see them, then I could shoot them through the wall with my ult. It'll travel all the way through. Let's say they're trying to defuse the bomb, and then this big entity comes through, wipes them out. Simple stuff, but can be very effective when you get into an actual game. Alrighty, Xero.
Heck all you want. It's not gonna
Xero
matter.
is the latest character. We're gonna rush through this because I feel like my recording's gonna stop. Xero is the latest character. She has a TP ability that can give you high ground advantage, vertical mobility that nobody else has. There's some spots you can reach with her that you cannot reach with other people. Aiming your wrist up will allow you to jump up to cool spots. Her blind ability is a lot easier to use than Shinya's because it throws out a physical blind that you can see will bounce off walls. So again, there's a small delay. In the practice range, I think it's accurate to in-game. Yeah, so you'll see it be thrown out, and it'll blind. Looks like this, lasts for quite a bit of time. But if you're in a pinch and you need to throw it at the ground real quick, you can look away, and you will be blind for a lot less than your enemy. Her ultimate ability gives you a second life totem. This one you can also put at high ground, and when you activate it, you'll get a second life. So what happens is that during a certain duration, if I die or take damage or if I don't do anything, then I will teleport back to my totem. If the enemies break your totem, then you cannot teleport back. You don't die from them breaking your totem, but you cannot teleport back. Keeping that in mind, if you are playing against a Xero and you see her totem here, if it's safe to stay here, you should wait till the Xero comes back to this spot, because you will get a free kill when they teleport back, instead of you breaking their totem and they get to live wherever they are. Last thing, her hero ability gives you a dart, which can be tossed very far distances. It'll give you an area of effect, which will tell you which enemies are in that area you showed, and it'll also tell you on your wrist who you affected, and on top of that, it'll make those enemies vulnerable. As you can see, it says it weakens them, which means that they take more damage. And then we can see this. After I get my ability up, I'll show you. So we're going to shoot with the classic to the body. It gives 28 damage. Once this comes back, I'll show you it does more than 28 damage. Also, by the way, you can see your abilities charging up. And some abilities will have visual effects. So with her ability, if you're holding it, you'll be able to see that the missile comes back. Or rocket. Boom, so I have it back. 9 of my abilities ready. Other characters, you will hear also just like an auditory sound to let you know that your ability is back. So it did 28 damage before. Does not do damage on impact.